Welcome to another weekly featured business brought to you by Visibility Impact and your host, James Moffat, where he will gracefully take our featured guest on a personal and business journey and stories that will inspire, educate, and engage you.
Hello, welcome to another Friday featured business brought to you by Visibility Impact and your host, myself, James Moffat. Today we have our 98th guest. Wow, nearly there at 100. So 98th guest, and today all the way from Athens, we have 𝗪𝗘𝗔𝗥.
Yeah.
Well, you actually, Alex, if you can pronounce your name, because I always get it right.
It's 𝗪𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛.
𝗪𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛.
Yeah.
Alex 𝗪𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛. Okay then. So Alex, you are our 98th guest. So welcome.
Thanks for having me on the show. Hi everyone. It's an honor to be here.
All right. So just before we get going, we're going to take you on a trip on memory lane and back to your childhood and then up to what you're doing now and learn all about you. Well, not all about you, be here for a week, but I mean, enough about you that we get a better picture of who you are and what you're doing. But before we start, we always kick the show off with a song from Emily. So it's a bit of an early start for all of us because this is a different time. So for anyone that's watching that couldn't make it, then that's no problem. The recording will be available and all the links and everything else. So Emily, over to you. So just tell us that. Maybe introduce yourself also, so the audience can know, but in particular Alex, and then what you do, and then the song you're going to sing, and then the spotlight's on you.
Okay, so hi, I'm Emily. I'm from London, but I live in Switzerland, and I have a children's events business over here. So I do holiday camps for kids and themed birthday parties, and then I also teach music. And I sing. And so today I will be singing for you guys.
Perfect. So what song are you going to sing today?
I'm going to sing, oh my God, I've forgotten what it's called. I know the song, it's like on my phone ready, but I forgot what it's called.
All right, okay.
Oh, like I'm Gonna Love You, that's it.
All right, but it's obviously a cover song.
It's a cover, yes.
All right, and you're doing it on your own today?
No, I have a drummer. He's on the cajon, but he's very shy. He doesn't want to come.
You kept that quiet. But the drummer has been on previously?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't
okay then.
on camera. He's the one
so yeah, good morning to you both. Right. Okay then. So Emily, over to you and the drummer.
Do you want me to, is that okay there, or do you want me to move it to the side?
It's okay.
It's okay?
Yes.
the night, just a whisper of smoke. You could lose everything. The truth is you'll never know. So I'll kiss you longer than a chance that I get. Now make the most of the minutes and love with no regrets. Let's take our time to say what we want, use what we got before it's so gone. 'Cause no, we're not promised tomorrow. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Wherever we're standing, I won't take you for granted. 'Cause we'll never know when we'll run out of time. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Wherever we're standing, I won't take you for granted. We'll never know when we'll run out of time. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Nice.
A
That
beautiful,
was really great.
yeah, beautiful song. Yeah, thanks, Emily. That was excellent. And the drumming was perfect.
Yes, kudos to the drummer as well. It's a teamwork thing.
Yeah, and all in sync.
Yeah.
You have to sing live more often, because there's definitely, between Zoom and YouTube, it causes a technical hiccup, and it throws the sync out.
Your live performance is in November, yes, or in October?
Yeah. Well, I have a few, but the main one is in November. Yeah, the 5th of November. Yeah.
Where's that going to be?
So it's like a private event organized by this woman who has a catering business. So what she does is she lives in a really large place. So she invites up to 35 people, and like within the ticket she does all the food and unlimited alcohol. And then she invites musicians from, like the last one was actually from 𝗬𝗢𝗦𝗧, a British girl as well. And yeah, and she does there's a lot of salsa artists and stuff. But then the one in November is going to be 𝗬𝗘𝗫𝗧, the pianist. It's going to be like a candlelight concert, and a lot of French chansons.
All right.
Yeah.
So you'll be singing in French?
Mainly, because that's what she asked for.
Oh.
So got my work.
So you have a manager?
No.
Do you want me to help you get some gigs? There's lots of embassies where I live, you see, and they're always throwing parties. And
okay, yes. Yeah,
yeah, I have to work with you to get kind of a portfolio, and then go and promote you.
That'd be great.
All right. Okay, we'll take that offline. So anyway, thank you very much for that song. It was beautiful.
No worries. It's very nice to meet you, Alex. I will watch the recording back. I'm sorry that I can't stay.
No problem. Thank you very much. Great song.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
Emily.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so Alex, you are our 98th guest, so welcome again. And right, I hope you're feeling more relaxed now that you've had a song from Emily. And now we're going to learn about you. So I'm going to put the spotlight on you. So let's just take you, well, first of all, find out where you are. So where are you living at the moment?
Yeah, I am from Greece and I currently live in Greece as well, in Thessaloniki in particular. It's a really great city. I wasn't born here. I was born in a smaller town nearby. And I moved here in Thessaloniki like 4 years ago to start my university studies.
Right. And sorry, where are you originally from? Which part?
From Thessaloniki right now.
Okay.
Thessaloniki, we normally say it. Here in Bulgaria, I'm in Bulgaria. It's very close to where I am. I'm in Sofia. So,
It's nearby, yeah.
yeah. In Bulgarian, we say not Thessaloniki, we say Solun. Like that. But it's really nice. I've been a couple of times to Thessaloniki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Greece a lot when I was younger. So it used to be one of these destinations that you go to, particularly for the Brits. So wasn't so much the mainland, although I did go to Athens quite a lot. It was more the islands. So Rhodes, Corfu, Crete, places like that. So where do you go on your holiday? Just out of curiosity, do you go to the islands or do you go elsewhere?
To tell the truth, in the last couple of years, I hadn't took a vacation yet, but my preferred destinations would be winter places, like the Netherlands, etc. I'm not like, I don't really go into Greek islands, etc. for the summer, as most people do, which is really great. The islands are really beautiful. I prefer some winter resorts to go to. I really liked the Netherlands, as I said, and in Germany, where I went with my parents a couple of years ago.
Right, excellent. So you like it colder. So what's the temperature there at the moment, where you are?
Here it's about 24 Celsius.
Ah, not so hot then.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay. But in the winter, I mean, how cold would it get?
The last years, it gets really cold in the winter and really hot in the summer. I think that's good. It goes about -5, I
Really?
think. Yeah, yeah. And in Thessaloniki as well, which is, not so a high place, I don't know, like other cities in Greece.
Yeah, so quite extreme then. And in the summer, how hot would it get?
I think this summer, the highest temperature we saw was about 38 Celsius.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it's kind of similar to Switzerland, actually. I mean, it can go down to -10, but typically between 5 and 10 in the winter.
Yeah.
And in the summer, I mean, we even reached 40. Although not for long, but I mean, typically
Bulgaria and Sofia, about weather, it can go up to -25, sometimes
-25.
extreme, yes, and in summer up to, let's say, close to 40. So we're very close. So geography. Well,
yeah.
Alex is closer to the Mediterranean, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, let's not talk about weather all day. Right. So let's learn about Alex. So have you any siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 older sisters. They currently live in the same city as I do.
Right. Are they studying or have they finished their studies?
They have finished their studies and they work to my father's company, which is based here in Greece as well.
Okay, so your father's company, I mean, what do they do?
Yeah, my father started like 20 years ago. Hygiene Service is the name. It's the first Greek company that introduced hygiene services to places like hotels, restaurants, cafes, etc., which is our main customer segments. He took the idea from England when he was younger, and he brought it to Greece. So what he does is that we specialize in the hygiene service market, from hand sanitizers to soap and the sanitizer we have for the toilet to keep it clean. And the segment that we target is HoReCa, of course, but now with the COVID situation, we started doing some B2C as well.
Right. So pretty busy then, I guess, at the moment.
Yeah, it's going really good. Yeah, we have like 100 franchise stores here in Greece and about 20 to other European countries like Bulgaria, Austria, Germany. We're starting in Switzerland one as well in the next couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
you do like field service management plus delivery of this hygiene stuff?
Yeah.
So how long's your father been running this business or founded it and having the business?
He started it like 2004, I think.
Oh, it's not so long then.
Yeah.
I'm quite impressed then.
Yeah, he was always in the entrepreneurial path with other industries before that, but I think this is the biggest one he has made yet.
So there would be a natural role for you to play and work in your father's business if you wanted.
Yeah, that was the first option that I had when I passed high school and went to study in university here. I started going to my father's business to learn about it and maybe manage it someday if I can do that. But I stopped and started Overall Audiobooks.
Right. But you have worked in the business already.
Yeah, for like 2 years, I think, maybe less. Yeah.
Okay. But you want to be your own entrepreneur and do your own things.
Yeah, to tell the truth, I really like our product in hygiene service. I think it's really revolutionary, especially for the Greek market. And I think it has many potential to expand into European countries, as we have seen through research. And I really like the product. I have some ideas on my own how to improve the product and scale the business. But yeah, currently I'm passionate about the audiobook market.
Okay, excellent. We'll come to that in a minute. So you obviously, I mean, you've got two older sisters who are in the business, and you mentioned that you're still at university.
Yeah, I study here economics in the University of Macedonia.
Right. And when do you finish there?
I think I'm finishing later this year.
Okay. And then you want to venture out and do in parallel, you're doing your own business.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll come on to that in a moment. So growing up as a kid then, kind of was entrepreneurialism in the family, and was that kind of discussed around kind of the dinner table, and your father kind of inspiring like his children, I mean your sisters and yourself, right, on like what you should do and how to look at life in a different way, because definitely entrepreneurialism is not taught at school.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so my father is a serial entrepreneur. So since I was younger, he was always away from home doing his own ventures. I think that's his third big venture right now with hygiene service. So there weren't so many discussions about how to be an entrepreneur for me or my sisters. And I think I personally haven't thought about it ever to do something on my own. I really haven't thought about my professional career ever in a serious manner, of course. My father is my role model in the family, and he always was really helpful in terms of solving every problem that I have, from school problems to whatever. And he always tried to make me solve my problems on my own, so I can learn from them, of course. And he taught me how to look at life in general and how to behave, how to be a better person, and how to have ideals on my own.
That sounds like a perfect father.
Yeah.
I mean, I try that with my kids. I mean, they're very young at the moment. So we have three. I mean, my eldest son is 9, and then we have twins, a boy and a girl, who are 6. So at the moment, I mean, it's a challenge, but I mean, I want to also introduce things, I mean, entrepreneurialism and thinking outside of the box and being more creative and using their imagination rather than always following what someone else tells them. I'm not saying that you shouldn't follow rules to a certain degree, but you need to also think outside of the box.
Yeah.
So then growing up at school, and going to school, I mean, how was it? I mean, with lessons and things that you were taught, did you feel that these are good as a foundation, or good for academical things? But if I really wanted to expand and learn more about myself, because it sounds like your dad's teaching you about your personal development, as well as your business development, then you found that was good because you got that at home.
Since the beginning of my school path, I was really a typical student until now that I'm in university. I studied really hard and always had good grades, so I was really a normal student. I felt, mostly in high school, where I started to think outside of the box somehow. I started to think that this is not enough. The knowledge that I get and the way that they transmit the knowledge was not really effective to me, I think. So since high school, where things got serious about my school career, I had to finish the exams and go to some university. That was my goal. I started to be on my own, had private teachers, learn my things that interest me, and not just go with the path in school that until the last moment they try to teach you everything, which is not really effective because you, in the 3rd grade of high school, before you finish in the last year, you choose a path from 5 paths: biology, mathematics, etc. So trying to teach you everything at that year was not really effective, and I tried to minimize it to me and keep only the necessary knowledge. It wasn't really, at school, I was really hard to adjust to school and adapt to it, in the primary school mostly. In high school, it was really easier because I had many friends, etc. But I always felt like I don't belong so much here, and was especially in high school, outside the rules of the school.
It does. Funny you should say that. You can hear me okay? My sound
right now.
Okay. Because that very expression, you felt that you didn't belong here. I mean, I had that also when I was at school. I was just reading, and actually I'm writing about it at the moment. I found my old school reports back from when I was a junior school, and it said, James could do so much more if he focused. And I was a daydreamer. I would always be looking out the window. But then I thought about the subjects, for subjects that I didn't really care too much about. And maybe I would have cared if the teacher could articulate the value proposition and the lesson in a way that was engaging rather than boring, then maybe I would have. But I didn't, so I would daydream out the window, and that affected my school report. But in saying that, if it was a practical class, so I mean, I did at school woodwork, metalwork, which was quite strange to have a subject like metalwork. We had a forge where we would actually melt metal, right, and then bend it and everything else. So I mean, right, some serious stuff there, right? So woodwork, metalwork, and other things, anything practical. I even like chemistry because it's practical exercise. That I would be 100% focused, right? So there was no daydreaming in those. But for things that I felt were more kind of the academical ones, and if it's not taught in the way that you want to learn, then it became boring. And I'd switch off and just have more fun
It's also even more English because about learning, different people, they get the way to learn in totally different ways.
Absolutely.
One model never fits all. This is why some people drop off simply because different way of working.
Which is very true. You probably, Boyan, with your kids as well. I mean, there isn't. We have 3 kids, and they have 3 different ways of learning.
Yeah, I also have 3 kids. You also have 3 kids, Alex?
I don't have kids yet.
Yeah. He's one of, but you're one of 3.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right? So, but like, I mean, if you put, I guess you and your 2 sisters together, and you were doing a whole series of different kind of academical or even practical things, you'd all have a different learning capability. I mean, some things you would pick up quicker than them, and other things they'd pick up quicker than you. It doesn't mean that they're better or worse. It's just it's a different way that you think and you process things. At school, I mean, we have our 2 twins in the same class. My daughter is very academically minded, so she's at the top end of the class when it comes to that, and my son at the bottom end. Right, but if you switched it around to, I don't know, more of a practical exercise, then it's the other way around. He's at the top, but they don't measure that. They just say academically he needs extra help. Well, maybe that's not his thing. But anyway.
The complaint that mostly we had, I think, talking with my friends in high school, was that we had great teachers. We were really lucky to have really good teachers. But I think a mistake that happened was that they teach you the knowledge through, if of course their way fits you. Let's say you like being lectured from someone, you can learn through that way. But they would never articulate what we learn right now to a higher picture and why we learn it, and how we can use it practically in an example in our everyday lives later on. I think that was a mistake, because if they would teach us if they would say why we learn something, even the sciences that didn't interest me, like history and more theoretical practices, I would be more interested in the lesson, because I could connect that information to something that I may need someday, and be more passionate about our subject. And I think that's a mistake, that we learn 2 different subjects in the same way. Like my sisters are more theoretical science oriented, like history, archaeology, etc., and they followed that path. I was like more practical with mathematics, science, etc., and we learned these 2 different things through the same way, through a teacher and a whiteboard. I mean, that seems strange a little bit.
Yeah, funny you should say that. I mean, my son, and when I learned kind of mathematics at school, I always had a piece of paper beside me, and I would physically write down the numbers, and then I would do the equations and whatever the way I'd been taught. Right. And when he comes home and I'm trying to help with his maths, I'm saying, well, you need a piece of paper, you need to write. No, we're not allowed to do that. I said, what do you mean you're not allowed? You have to write it down so you can visualize it. And you subtract this from that, and you add 1 here and deduct 1 there and whatever. He said, we can't. We have to do it in our heads. And I thought, how stupid is that? I mean, I remember as a kid going to the corner shop, like to buy a newspaper or sweets or whatever. And the person that worked in there didn't have a calculator or anything in those days. They had a piece of paper and a pen, right? And they would write down, right, you bought that's 20p, that's 15, that's 35. And they'd write it down, then they would like add it up. You could see them adding it up. Sometimes you could add it up quicker than them, but you could see the logic. They've added it up on a piece of paper. Now kids are expected to like be memory man or process it in their head, like 35 plus 15 plus 20 plus this plus that. Oh no, I don't want that one anymore. Right, take the 15 off again, and you think, oh, I have no idea what the answer is. Right, just give me £1 or whatever. Right? Okay, but I don't know. Is that the way that maths was taught at school? I mean, you can't write it down. You have to think of it.
We would write most of them down. We didn't really use calculators, etc. And some now in university we do that. We're full in the second way that you described. But when I was younger, we would write things down. It was more the typical and the correct way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think it's a simple way. But anyway, we could digress because when it comes to like tying shoelaces as well, yeah, I tell my kids how to tie a shoelace, but no, that's not the right way. I said, what do you mean not the right way? Oh, there you have to make 2 loops and fold the loops together.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
But anyway, why would you change something that works and it's effective to something that's more complicated, in my opinion? But anyway, so anyway, school. So let's move on from school. So you must be pretty young, right, at the moment?
Yeah, I'm 22 years old.
23.
22. Yeah.
Oh, 22. Sorry. Right. Yeah. So you are very young. So let's move into kind of your business now. So your father was an influence in this as well, with the entrepreneurial mindset, but also with your study and everything, and speaking to friends at university. I mean, was this something that was an idea? How did this idea come about, and what is it? So you mentioned earlier is audio books or audio. Yeah. So tell us how that all started.
Yeah, of course. So I was working to my father's company, as I said, and studying in parallel in university. And then I was like, I never imagined doing something on my own in the entrepreneurial sense, of course. But I started wondering what I can do to have an income of my own until I learned my father's business and manage it someday. Small things, like stock trading, etc. I didn't have an idea about them back then. And then I met a business coach who is a business coach here in my company as well, and a personal friend. Said, you don't like stocks, etc. You like entrepreneurship. Stop worrying about stocks and how to make money, and start dealing with entrepreneurship, how to manage your father's company, how to be an entrepreneur. So, okay, I was like, okay, you can mentor me, but what should I do? How should I start? He said, start reading some books about entrepreneurship, business, marketing, self-improvement, etc. He gave me some books, of course, and I started reading one of them in an ebook form. And I found it really hard because it would take me about like a month and a half or a month to finish a complete book, either in physical or digital format. And I haven't read any outside of the school books yet, but that seemed to me really strange, and said, if I have to read like, I don't know, a dozen of books, I can just spend a month on each one of them. And the reasons that this wouldn't fit me, the reading, was due to lack of time, of course, and due to lack of focus. I couldn't focus really well on reading something outside of school work, of course. So he said, okay, you have to do something. So he advised me to start searching for other ways to learn the book, and there came audiobooks. So I searched audiobooks. I didn't have an idea what was back then, and found an English platform from Amazon to listen to them. And since day one, I was really amazed because I could finish 4 audiobooks per week, whereas I would finish reading 1 book per month. So the analogy was really great. And I felt that I could understand the content really well. I like having someone to read something to me. It's a really pleasant experience as well. We all had that when we were younger, like our mother or father would read us fairy tales, etc. So I was really amazed with audiobooks, but never thought of it as an entrepreneurial idea. After 5 to 6 months of listening to audiobooks, I had the idea that why there isn't something in Greece as well. I think for me personally, that I know English very well, but for me and for many people here in Greece, would be really helpful to listen to something in their native language. And even if they know English, they may prefer that. It's really easier to listen something to your binary or your natural language. So that was the idea at first. It was like an audiobook store here in Greece. There wasn't anything like that back then. They were like, I don't know, 2 to 3 audiobooks on YouTube for free. That was the audiobook market back then, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, almost. So that was the idea, and I started working with that on my mind. I wouldn't hire, employees or tell my father. It was like something on my mind. I told my mother someday, like, for chatting, that's an idea. She said, okay, that's really good, okay. And after a while, I started working on that and said, why don't we just make an audiobook store? Why don't we specialize it in the education sector? And I think that realization to the education sector came because in the last year in high school, it was the most tough year because we had to study hard for the exams in the finals. I had a friend who had a private teacher, the same private teacher as I had for a subject. And he had ADHD and maybe dyslexia. So since the beginning of high school, he was treated really unfairly in that sense that even the teacher and his parents were like destined him for a mediocre life, to pass to a mediocre university, to have a mediocre job, because they thought that this was his potential. Whereas on my end, my parents and my teachers were like really proud of me. They said, go to the best university, you can do that, you're really smart, you can achieve anything, And that seemed to me really unfair, because I think that maybe if he had another way of learning, like audiobooks or whatever reason, because we're learning in our own ways, he would have the same possibilities as I had, and people would treat him the same way that they did to me. So that seemed really unfair to me, and I think that this was the reason that we specialize in the education sector with the audiobooks. So I started the business. I hired one employee who was working at hygiene service. He was working in the afternoons for me to start the business, have a website, social media, etc. And after a while, we have seen that it would really take off. We have seen great adoption from the Greek market. And my father said, you have to leave the company and go do something on your own. You can't do that in parallel. This won't work. So I hired my own employees and my own office here in Thessaloniki. And we are live, and we are like, that was 2 years ago.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to kind of pause you there. No, I absolutely love it. So just before we come on to kind of the company and the size of it now, so the idea, because I mean, like, as you said before, like the coach that was saying to you that you have to read X amount of books or whatever. I mean, I kind of knew that problem, because I thought, oh, look at the size of that book. I'm never going to read that. Or you could also find a book that it's just not comfortable on the eye. I mean, the text is too small, or it's not spaced out in a way that it's easy to read. And even the layout of the book can make it difficult to want to read it, let alone anything else. So to me, it has to be aesthetically pleasing, but also on the eye that I feel comfortable reading, or my eyes will get tired. And then if I want to read before I go to bed, maybe I don't want the light on so bright, but if it's on dim, then I can't see the text. And then I need to put glasses on. You can create yourself all sorts of problems. So a lot of the time you just put the book to one side and it sits there waiting to be read, and it's saying, read me, read me, read me, but you never actually read it. Right? Yeah. So I did exactly the same, particularly if you're driving in the car. I used to do a lot of driving where I'd be on my own in the car, or on a train journey. And even when I travel for business, I think I told you this story before, there were the times I'd get on a plane and I'd get a book out and then put it in the pouch in front of the seat, and it would slip down so it'd be out of sight. And then I'd get off the plane, and then I'd get to the hotel and think, where's my book? I'd left it on the plane. And then you'd never go and buy the book again, right? So I can really see the reasons for that. So I started listening in the car, which was so much easier because I could be driving and listen to something. Well, I did that. and then I could be doing two things at the same time. And it didn't distract me from actually driving. It actually was more soothing, right? So anyway.
If you're in the highway, it's really suitable.
So what was your first audio book that you listened to?
The first audiobook that I listened to was, I think, Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon.
All right.
It's still a favorite. Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, that is a favorite one for entrepreneurs. I mean, I've read it as well, which is...
Now they're turning this into a movie, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it is an excellent book, I must admit. And there's definitely parts in there that are very memorable that you need to, it's a book that you need to read a few times to actually absorb everything. But so that's a great entrepreneurial one. And yeah, and then from there, I also find it, I mean, me personally, that depending on who's narrating, I mean, if it's a male voice, a female voice, if it's soft and calming, if it's kind of relaxing, if it depending on the book, of course. I mean, if it's like something that's more dramatic, you want something that also has that in the voice. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to audiobooks. But anyway, so you then decided that, I mean, how many books did you listen to on audio before you said, I've got to do this? This is excellent. And you said you spoke to your mum. I mean, was your mum convinced, or did she think, she kind of just get a book?
No, she liked the idea. I think if she didn't like the idea, she would also say that she liked the idea. But she seemed at the moment pretty convinced. Of course, the idea wasn't like that. It was really general and had some things that we had to remove, of course. It was really dreamy back then. But she pretty liked the idea, yeah. And I would tell that to people, you know, in a chat with my friends, etc. They said, okay, that sounds good. But yeah.
And your father, what did he think?
I don't think I said it to my father at the beginning. Yeah, I can't remember that episode. Yeah, maybe he liked it because,
But did you feel
something on your own?
Yeah, exactly. Did you feel that you needed to seek his approval because I guess his intention was to bring you into the family business, and then now you're kind of sneaking out of it and doing your own thing? So there must have been that feeling that, do I kind of not go into my dad's business, but if I don't, then I need to, I kind of need his approval that if I do something that it's going to be seen as something, as a good alternative.
Yeah, at the beginning we took this matter really relaxed because we wouldn't, I think my father wouldn't believe that this idea would escalate to a business. So we didn't, at the beginning, we didn't really discuss that path, that I'm leaving our business and go to my path on my own. But yeah, my father told me a lot of times, it hurts a little bit that you don't, you're not here, but I'm really impressed and proud that you started something on your own. Even if it doesn't work, of course, you have learned so many things over these 2 years that even if you want to come here and work some time for hygiene service, what you did with Overall is really necessary. It's a new university that you attended to.
Yeah, it's a learning, but I mean, kind of your father installed that kind of thinking, that entrepreneurial mindset in the way that, I mean, around dinner tables and things, you're talking about kind of the practicality of that and things that you're not taught at school. It just seems that most of my guests that I've spoken to had no idea what they wanted to do when they were at school and even when they left school. And there was nothing like this of an entrepreneurial kind of way of thinking and that mindset, because it's not until you actually venture out that there's normally a pivot point in your life that gets you to think, well, what the hell am I doing? And by that time, you have to try to learn. Whereas if you learn earlier and it was part of the educational system at school, then it gives you a whole different way of looking at things. Yeah, entrepreneurialism is not for me. I'm happy to go and work for a company and blend in there, and that's it. And other people think, no, this is the path that I'd like to take, and thanks, I've got now kind of the toolkit in which to enable me to do that. So
Yeah.
when you spoke to your friends then, I mean, and now I guess still at university, how did you bring the team together, and how many people work in the company now?
Yeah, we started by having some employees from hygiene service helping me with the project in the early phase, and then
So you stole your dad's employees.
Yeah, in the afternoons, of course, they were working for me with no payment, just with passion, and see where that goes. And it's really impressive that after a while, my father said, you have to go do something on your own. He insisted on doing something on my own and scaling the business, and he wasn't like, stay here. And I was really afraid at the beginning to start something on my own, you know. Until then, I was really with the hygiene service employees, so there wasn't any risk in the idea. But then he insisted on scaling the business, on hiring my own employees, etc. Right now, we are about 10 people in total, if you count the outside counselors, etc. Yeah, we have our own office as well.
Excellent. So 10 people. So when did you start?
We started in the first official launch of the business was 2 years ago, July 2020. Yeah. So it's 2 years and 2 months almost. And we started, of course, with 3 people in total, me and 2 others. And we have grown since.
Right. And how many? I mean, how did you kind of start off? I mean, you are the founder and the owner, and everybody basically is employed to work with you. You don't have co-founders or anything like that.
No, I'm on my own on that.
Right. And the team, when you brought the team in together, I mean, where did you said about education? I mean, that would be one kind of niche area that you could focus on, although this could apply and be applicable all over the place, but you picked education to start with. Yeah,
the first books that we recorded was some government books, school books, like high school, primary school, etc. The ones that I had to read to pass the exams. And we, of course, had a PDF with that, with some remarks that were necessary to see and couldn't be transmitted into audio format. So we started by doing some school books on audio, started selling them through our website. But then we broadened our catalog to include non-fiction as well, which is in a sense educational, of course, self-development, spirituality, etc. So the most the best thing that we have, the thing that we focus on right now is bestseller books in the non-fiction sector from famous Greek publishers.
Okay.
Not just school.
So you do this in the Greek language?
Currently, yeah.
But the plan is to do it in English as well?
Yeah, our next plan is to host some English non-fiction audiobooks as well.
Okay. And when it comes to the audio itself, I mean, is it your team that are actually doing the audio recording?
Yeah, the bad news right here is that because we were the first in Greece to start an audiobook business, there weren't any audiobooks recorded. I mean, as I said, 2 or 3 in the YouTube for free. So there wasn't really a market, and there isn't right now a serious market here in Greece in the audiobook sector. We hope that this will change, of course, in the next 4 to 5 years. So we had to do our own productions and explain this business model to the publishers, which is really cost effective to the publishers because we control the whole process and the whole cost of that. So we started doing our own productions. We started with amateur narrators from their own place to narrate, and we of course had the team of audio engineers. But currently we cooperate with professional narrators and actors here in Greece.
Actors?
Yeah. We have the studio on our own. We have like, I don't know, 2 to 3 studios on our own where we do the production and the whole team of.
I
So
thought I'd see.
people are practically reading the book and recording themselves, correct? This is the.
I'm sorry, what you asked?
My question is, in fact, they got the book, either PDF or paper, and they read it on record, like they would like to hear it, like if somebody's reading for them.
Yeah, they record it on their own. Of course, they read the book before they come to us, and we mentor them, of course, during the narration of the book, during the recording. They record about, I don't know, 1 to 2 hours per day, because then they get tired and the audio doesn't come as clean. And then we take that and do the whole audio engineering process to launch it on our website.
So I have a question, like more on maybe the legality. I mean, when you take a book where, I mean, you're not the publisher or the author of the book, so do you have to seek some copyright or some license or an agreement that you can actually do an audio of someone else's book?
Yeah. Yeah, for the school books, we took permission from the Greek government to do that because it's theirs to keep. We also have the self-published sector where an author comes to us and says, I want to publish my book to you in audio format, and maybe the book hasn't even come in physical form yet, and it's only on us exclusively. And we also have the most interesting part, which is the cooperation with the publishers. So what we do is that we have an agreement with the publisher for some books and some time frame, like 2 to 3 years, with exclusivity mostly, because the production is ours. Yeah, as long as we have the copyrights from that, we can do that. Of course, we have some audiobooks on our own. What that means is that we took some public domain audiobooks, and we translated them in Greek on our own, so the copyright is ours for the translation. And we did also the audio version of that.
Okay. So do you do any of the audio yourself?
Yeah, I have recorded some, like 20 books that they are. We have a new sector on our website, which is called Quick Learns. It's something like Blinkist. You take the summary of the book, the key points of any book, and you can listen to that like in 20 minutes, not the whole book, like 10 hours. So for that part, I did all the narrations myself. Yeah.
Excellent.
People like shortcuts to the learning. Maybe this is a good thing.
Yeah, that's the idea, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, just going back to what you said, particularly when you compare to your friend at school, and you said that he had difficulties learning, and you're at one end of that spectrum and he's at the other. And the fact that to get some tools and aids to enable you to learn better, then audio is a great way to do that. I mean, I find that, like you, I could effectively read, although I'm listening, to much more books when I can do it in my time. That, I mean, I can go for a walk in the forest, right? Listen to a book. I can't walk in the forest like reading a book in my hand. It's just not practical, right? Yeah. And I guess if you had a dog or whatever and you wanted to walk the dog, you could listen to an audio book. I mean, there's so many different ways you can do it that it is a great alternative to, I mean, I do like a physical book as well. So I probably do both. I probably want the physical book because it's kind of memorabilia of the book and something you can touch and hold, but it doesn't mean I have to read the book. I could listen to the book. So I can still say, look, here's the book. And they say, oh, it doesn't look like it's been read. Well, it hasn't actually been read. I've listened to it. And people say, well, how did you do that? And they say, well, I have the audio book as well. So, but I mean, I think personally speaking, from my own point of view and my own experience, that I've consumed in a way so many more books via audio,
Yeah.
then I mean, I've even got books here now that I've never read. Now, would I ever read them? Probably not. But if someone presented me them in audio, would I read it? Yes. So you could go back to all the books you should have read at school that you never read, or all the books that you'd like to read that you haven't read. And I think it's magical. So these 10 people in the company, so what type of roles do they do?
Mostly we have the developers who deal with the website and the iOS and Android app. Of course, we have the engineering team for the recordings, and assistant and marketing. It's mostly the parts, the full parts here. And then it's the outside counseling that we get.
Okay, so you have a website, you have a mobile app, right? Yeah. And you have roughly how many books now or recorded?
We have about 200 audiobooks in our website. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. And they're in a variety of like kind of the early recordings you did. Then
everything included.
Then the more professional ones, and
all together. Yeah.
But I guess if you have an actor and an actor's voice, you have to pay them.
Yeah, to tell the truth, the cost of production is really expensive. But yeah.
But you factor that in. So you said you've got 2 studios.
Yeah.
So are they different? Is there a difference between the 2?
Yeah, they are in different cities. We have narrators here in Thessaloniki and in another city as well, professional narrators. And we have built both of them on our own. And we have some outside partners in Athens for studio recordings.
Okay. And I mean, because you're still at university, how did you manage kind of the funding to employ the team and also all the equipment and the studio and everything else?
Yeah, currently it's financed by my father, who I treat him like an angel investor, and I think he treats me like an entrepreneur that has to get results, not just his son. Yeah, we have the support from him, of course, in the financial and advisory sector as well. And everything we need from his company, he can provide to us. So that's really great.
All right, so he can provide you with the resources and lots of things.
Yeah.
Great to have a father like that.
I see also you're building a network of like distributors as well. You're searching for partnership. It's a partners, but is it only distribution, or what kind of partnerships you're looking for? You have a link, become a partner.
Yeah, for the link, we have we started the marketing with affiliate Instagram influencers and YouTube as well, and has gone really great. They really like the idea and get paid from that, of course. But they haven't heard of that in Greece, so they were really excited that they found a platform that revolutionized in some way how you read the book.
No, yeah, I think it's excellent. I know we've spoken at length about this, and I think it is something that could be used not just within Greece, but I mean globally. Particularly, even if you just picked one sector like education, I mean that is massive, and it needs a big shake-up at the moment globally. So, I mean, just that alone could be a massive success story. So, the plan is at some point, I mean, to do translations into English, but within the Greek market. And then when would you be looking to expand outside of the Greek market?
We're looking to expand into English content as soon as possible, and that happened because we have we closed the deal with a big publisher here in Greece that sells English content as well in the physical form, of course. So it's easier for us to come into agreement with foreign, mostly US publishers, to host some audiobooks. The plan here is to host the audio content that is already made for other platforms like Amazon, Apple, etc., and not to do the production on our own because it takes time. and it takes money, but our pain point is mostly time. Because if you consider that only in Greece, which is a really small country and with not so many readers, there are about 9,000 books published per year. So to do most of them, not all of them, of course, there isn't a point there. Most of them in audio format, it would take forever.
No, exactly. I'm just kind of thinking aloud as you're talking about other things that can be done. Because when you talk about entrepreneurialism, I mean, that's education as well. So, I mean, it's not just about reading like books like Think and Grow Rich and others, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and so on. It's about the entrepreneurial mindset. But I mean, all of this, like you said, and like I feel as well, when I was at school and something was read to me, I could visualize that. I would use my imagination. I could just sit back and even close my eyes, but listen. And then the listening can be as deep as you want it to be. But listening was always easier than, to me, read. I was never such a good reader at school. I always remember the teacher saying, right, who was paying attention, right? James, read the next line. I think, oh, shit, next line? Where are we? And I'm not even on the right page, let alone the right line. Right. But if I'm listening to something, I seem to absorb it much better. So I was just thinking also for entrepreneurialism and startups and whatever, then in an audio format, I mean, if we go to an event and we listen to people, right, you can't take away that 100% of what you've heard. So if you could take away that in an audio way, then it's not just what you've seen and heard there, because there's too many distractions. You're looking at your buddy down the road, you're looking at someone going out to the toilet, you're hearing a door slam, and you're distracted. But if you say, right, you don't have to absorb everything, the whole 100% here, because you're going to get the audio of that afterwards. Then to me, I'd think, but you pay extra for that. You don't have to have it. Just make your own notes and whatever. Or you get the audio, but it's going to cost you, I don't know, like $10 or whatever. Like when you go out, I think, well, $10 and I'll get all of that again. Yeah, why not? And if there's 1,000 people in there and 50% had it, I mean, anyway, I'm going to patent that idea, right, or work with you on that, because I think from going to these events, that could be something that is a great upsell. So I'll work with you on that one.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I just want to know kind of what are the biggest challenges that you're facing at the moment? Because you said you haven't finished your study yet. So obviously you can't dedicate 100% of your time. And you've got a team to look after and manage, and you've got the recording stuff. And so what do you see as your personal biggest challenge at the moment?
Firstly, it's finishing university to manage to focus my time on the project, on the company. In terms of the company, I think the biggest challenge that we have is that currently there isn't enough market to be okay with us in terms of financial opportunity. We see that all of our customers are really happy, and we have seen really great adoption this summer since the end of June 2022, due to the launch of our subscription model in our website. I think that's the biggest challenge. We must be patient in order to wait and help expand, evangelize the audiobook market in Greece. That's really painful, but it's difficult because always the book market as well in Greece, it's about 150 million annually, and there are like, I don't know, 600 publishers. And that's a small number for a market to attend to. And it's even worse for the audio market because currently it's, I don't know, less than around 1% of that.
Okay.
But we hope that this will grow.
So at the moment, you have enough business to keep the 10 people employed?
we work here where I think we are the minimum number needed. We don't do, I don't know, unnecessary expenses. But the market currently cannot bootstrap the company, so we have the angel investment.
Okay, but then these people are kind of employed also with your dad. So I mean, it's not as if things didn't work out, you say goodbye to them. They're kind of...
No, they are my own. They are not related to my father's business. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, I wish you great success in this. I can see that potential is huge. I mean, particularly on a global scale. It's just that I think you have a great foothold in the way that, I mean, you've got 200 or so audio recordings and you've already got yourself established. It's kind of taken it to the next level, right? Also, yeah, I was just thinking, so when you finish your study is related or not going to be related at all?
It's not related very much. It's economics, so of course it will be useful, but it's not really related to the industry that we are.
Okay, so the sooner you get that out of the way, the better.
Yeah. I do it mostly for, my father and the fact that I started something, so I have to finish to get it through. It's more like a psychology factor that I want to finish, and an ethical one. Because I'm not that convinced to the university mindset and you learn here, because I try to learn on my own many things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So when you speak to your friends and family about it, I know you've spoken to your family. I mean, what do your sisters think of this?
They were really, they like the idea, but they don't really deal with that. They haven't gave me yet any advice, but they pretty like the idea. They say we will do the subscription someday, but they never had.
All right. All right. Okay, so yeah, it's all about awareness of art. So I'm just thinking, your ideal clients, are they publishing houses?
The publishing houses are our partners, where we get the license to record their books. Mm-hmm. Our customers we mostly operate right now with B2C, with mostly 35 to 55 years old male and female people. And currently we're looking for B2B cooperation. We started with some universities here in Greece, some service for their students.
Okay, excellent. But yeah, we are going to talk offline anyway. So I mean, I have some ideas I'd like to share with you, but not put them all out there.
I send you a connection request as a reminder also to this meeting. I'm dropping to another meeting. We'll be happy to, maybe we can find a way to collaborate. We make a lot of websites like business software as well, so might be a point of interest to work together. Yeah. I have a question just maybe for closing. How did you imagine that one day, for example, your business will go in such a way that everybody will listen everywhere audiobook from your website or something like this? Did you imagine at some moment that everybody will listen books from your website in Greek, in native language from your website?
To tell the truth, comparing to myself, I think the value is really great for listening to something, because if you sit down and think, we all have some moments in our everyday lives that we do something we don't like. We drive to work. I go to work every day for like an hour, so that's a waste of time for me. I cook, you clean the dishes or whatever. So you can't read a book then, and you can't do something productive then. You have to do that. You have to do chores in the house, etc. So for me, it's about 2 hours per day. So if you count 2 hours per day that I can listen to a book, even for me that I count myself as busy, if you count 2 hours per day, you can finish, I don't know, for like 2 audiobooks per week just by listening when you do housework or driving to work. That's really amazing. That's, I don't know.
It's utilizing your time and also adding value to your own business.
Now, I think it's a great utilization of time. because there are things like driving a car and listen to an audiobook at the same time. Whereas you're not going to drive a car and read a book at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, how can I maximize my time and still learn at the same time? Right? Maybe driving the car is not necessarily the best example, because you should be focused on obviously concentrating on driving your car. But I mean, I would rather listen to an audiobook than necessarily listen to the radio. But
Yeah.
everyone to their own. But like on a plane or on holiday, walking the dog, whatever. Yeah, like you said, doing the housework. Yeah, I often do that. My wife's saying, "Oh, what are you listening to?" And I think, does it really matter? I'm like vacuum cleaning and stuff. And she said, "You've always got something in your ears." And I think, yeah, because
I'm dropping because I have to join another meeting. Good luck, Alex. We keep in touch. Thanks, James.
Sure.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we're just going to wrap this up now. So you've been a fantastic guest. We've learned a lot about you, you personally, but also the entrepreneurial journey that you're on. I'm very impressed with what you've achieved so far. And thanks. I honestly believe that if the message and it's packaged up right, then there'll be a lot of interest. If you just say audio books, then it's just like saying a buzzword like digital transformation. Well, it doesn't mean anything until you show me wrap something around it that gets me thinking, well, what is it? And would it be for me? So I just think half the battle is packaging it and get that message across, and maybe with some examples as well. So with finding people to do their audio, was that difficult, the audio recordings?
To tell the truth, it was not difficult so much, because there was a lot of interest from amateur professionals to do the audio recordings. It was difficult in terms of educating them and tell them how to do that, because it's really new in Greece. Even our own engineers who worked in studios in cooperation with Spotify, who had experience in music, could not articulate how to do the audio editing and stuff. And it took us a lot of time to just learn how to do all of that.
So there's a lot of kind of back end stuff. So it's not just about the audio recording. You have to, I don't know, maybe do an intro and an outro and other bits in between.
Yeah, I do an intro with my voice at the beginning of every audiobook, welcome to the book or whatever, and an outro on the end, like thank you for listening.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of do that here at the end of the show. This is kind of the raw recording, but I mean, I do put a front end and a back end to it, just to introduce the show and the guest, and then wrap up as well. But I mean, I don't do that bit. I used someone from 𝗪𝗦𝗪.com, and but in saying that, there's a lot of expertise out there that can really make what you're trying to do good, because I'm not good at doing things like that. I like to do the hosting. I don't like to do the front end, the back end, and putting it all together is a pain. But other people do like doing that. So it's about kind of working together. Right. Anyway, Alex, I know you have to get on, and but so anything that you want to leave us with? I mean, I've got the links to your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. You have a website as well. You can share the details of the website.
The website is the company's website.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So the best way to get hold of you is on these three links that you shared with me: Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Mostly, right.
Okay. So I'll share those as well in the notes. Is there anything that you want to kind of leave us with?
Something I learned, and I think that would help a lot of people. It's a little bit cliche that everyone says that, but I can feel it, and I think that I should share that. Is that I'm always really optimistic. I'm a really optimistic person. I don't see the difficulty in something, and maybe that's a bad thing to be over optimistic sometimes. But okay, And starting this journey is really fun, and it was really difficult at times because we tried to introduce a new product to a non-existing market and just grow the customer base. So there were a lot of problems in terms of reaching our goals, etc. So we had a pretty rough path until now, until it took off like 2 to 3 months ago with the subscription model. So what I want to say is that I was always convinced that with the vision that everyone has AirPods or earphones on their ears and listen to something educational and leveraging their boring moments like driving to work to learn something new. And I think that kept me going, that the vision and the love for that, because I listen audiobooks in Greek from my platform as well. The fact that I do it for myself and be a really harsh judge about how to improve it really kept me going. I think that in other terms, and I have a company to go to, I won't be on the street if I stop doing what I do right now. But the love I have for that and the passion that I do it for myself kept me going. I think that's really great. I think that people should start doing something if they want to go to the entrepreneurial path, of course, that they like and can relate to. Because I think that's the only two reasons to keep going when things will get rough. And whatever you do, I think things will get difficult in the end. You can do something risk-free in the entrepreneurial sense.
No, I think there's beautiful words, and yeah, I admire you for what you've achieved. And it could have been all too easy, and you just go and work for your dad and happy ever after. But you kind of learned from what he told you about being an entrepreneur, and you saw kind of a gap in the market that, like your dad did, actually. So. And now you're doing something about it. And the fact that you've got over 200 recordings already is a massive achievement. So congratulations on that. And have you listened to all the 200?
No, because I listen to a lot of English content from other companies to get idea, and of course some audiobooks that we don't have in our website yet. I haven't listened to all of them, of course. I have listened to some in the English language that I have listened before in the English one to compare that.
But you've done many of these recordings?
Myself, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I have done about 20 of them. Okay. Mostly the summaries.
Okay, but you're still planning to do that, or you want other people to be doing?
Unfortunately, I am a little bit too busy nowadays to do the recording. It's a really fun experience, really stressful at the beginning, but really fun in the end. I really like going to the studio to do some recordings. Yeah. But due to lack of time, I have stopped to do that like a month ago.
Yeah. Okay, that made me think of something else, which I'll share with you later. Anyway, so Alex, you've been our 98th guest, an absolute fantastic guest, and I love your story. I love what you've achieved so far. I wish you great success, and yeah, happy to help you be part of this and help you grow the business. So, Alex, have a great weekend.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Take care.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Wow, that was another featured business brought to you by Visibility Impact. If you'd like to be our next featured guest or learn how James Moffat can help you leverage on the art and power of interactive storytelling for your business, reach out and schedule a call now.